In this video, we're going to talk about how to mount the system to a house. Now, there are a lot of different configurations and a lot of different variables in this, and we can't go over everything in one video. We're going to talk about the basic principles and about what you need to consider, and we're going to talk about the most common configuration. So the two most common configurations are that you're either mounting to the house itself, to the structure, or you're mounting to the fascia of the roof line. So if you're mounting to the fascia of the roof line, you got to remember that you need to either be reinforcing that fascia or hitting the rafter tails of those rafters. The fascia board is not typically meant to be structural. It is not meant to bear the weight of a system like this. So that's something you're going to have to consider and figure out how you're going to find those rafter tails on the system. If you're connecting to the house, you're going to be making sure that whatever the siding is that you're connecting to is structural and that you're able to get through that into the actual framing of the house. Along with that, the engineering calls for a 2-inch engagement of whatever fastener you're using into the structure. So you need to make sure at least 2 inches of those threads are into the studs of the house, for example. That means if you have a 1/2 inch of siding that you have to get through first, then you're going to need to have a 2.5 or 3-inch lag screw to get that 2 inches of engagement. Now, as far as the actual connection goes, you need to have a connection every 16 inches on center. So we're going to take a hole saw, drill a 3/4 inch hole about into the face of the beam, drill a smaller hole into the back of the beam that's just big enough for the stem of the fastener to go through, and then you can just drill straight through the back side of that beam into the house or into the fascia. Now you have that every 16 inches on center, like I said. You also need to have one fastener on top and one fastener on bottom, both about 1 inch from the edge. Remember that certain types of siding are not structural and are not able to be connected to. Most brick houses, for example, are simply veneers and are not meant to have any weight bearing whatsoever other than the veneer itself. So if you have a brick exterior, you need to make sure either that it is actually structural, or you may need to consider some other type of alternative attachment to the house in order to make that work and make that a structurally sound system. Again, every system, every house is going to be different, and there's going to be case-by-case considerations, but these are the basic principles about how to connect to the house.